go. Welcome everybody to the May 24th, 2016 Raymond Conservation Commission meeting, our last meeting of the fiscal year, and we'll take the summer off from these exciting meetings, but some of us are probably ready for that with the other committee activities that we've been involved in. 3 items for tonight to update everybody on, and 2 of those are forest related, and the third is on the waterways, and we'll have a brief report on all of those. I'll open with our Raymond Community Forest update, which we're very pleased to now know that we have reached our funding mark for the project. That is, considering the warrant article that folks here in Raymond will be voting on 2 weeks from tonight, specific to a final $6,800 funding from our very own open space reserve account to close the forest project. We have a closing date, assuming that funding all goes through 2 weeks from tonight. Closing date of, was it June 21?
June 21st.
So that is exciting, and following right on the heels of that closing date is trail planning that is scheduled to begin, and trail construction scheduled to begin this summer with a trail that will go up to the mountain view from the northeast side of Coneska Road. We have some plans to make some parking spaces. There's some gravel that's available on the property that we'll be using for parking, for a parking area. And for anyone who's interested, we're going to have an initial bushwhack hike on the 17th of June, which is a Friday, at 5 o'clock, and that will meet at the mountain side of the road parking lot. It'll be visible, so we welcome anyone to join us for that event. Probably see some more information for that on the Luneco Land Trust website. What am I leaving out, Russ, for the Raymond Community Forest that we just talked about with our meeting?
I think you've got it covered. I think just again to reemphasize that we've reached our funding goal with pending the $6,800 at the town meeting and the town warrant, and to thank everybody who's supported it over the past 3 years and helped us reach the goal. It's going to be a really terrific resource going forward for years to come.
Excellent. I think it's good for everybody to know that, Luneco Stewardship Committee is standing by to help out with trail signs, and like I said, the trail construction is going to, on the steeper parts, is going to be, there's funding for that, and that's going to happen, but there will be opportunities later in the year to join in to help manage the forest through time with a Raymond committee, but for sure the Luneco staff has this on their radar, and they will be the owners of this property, and it'll be a great partnership, and as Russ says, a great resource for us here in Raymond. Next item up is some brief report on progress we've made. Bill Frazier here has largely championed the Morgan Meadow Trail map that will be soon posted under the roof of the new kiosk that's out there. We've had some great GIS support from the town of Raymond, and from the IF&W as well in gray. And we've got 2 trails on the map, and those trails occupy pretty much the southern end of the meadow, the Egypt Road end of Morgan Meadow. They do not wander deep into the 1,100 acres of Morgan Meadow Wildlife Management Area. But there's some of the coolest terrain, for sure, on these 2 trails. Bill, help me out. The Spiegel Trail and the Meadow Link Trail hops over the ridge, and then there's the Glover Wig Trail.
Right, Glover's Wig, which is in gray. For those at home, it kind of looks like a light blue. The Meadow Link is a yellowish, and the original Spiegel Trail is a red. And it's not as clear as I would like, but we're having some technical problems, so that's the best we can do tonight. The map is on the town website, much easier to read. There's a couple of typos in the legend, but those are
We got those
being
fixed up.
corrected, and it's going to be up 100% correct very soon.
Excellent. Total mileage was 0.8 and close to 2.5 miles, with better than that, maybe 3 miles with the 3 trails there. And those are primarily foot trail snow in the summer months, and snowshoe ski trails in the winter. But there is some steep terrain out there, and certainly folks can go explore Morgan Meadow any season of the year, and the trail map should help guide the way out there. Thanks for pulling that together, Bill. What else? Our last item is I wanted to give Ben a chance to update the town on the Raymond Waterways activities as the summer boating season revs up, and what RWPA is doing to protect the water resources.
What I would concentrate on first is, as of this coming Friday, you will begin to see our infamous courtesy boat inspectors. I think most of the boaters now are quite familiar with them, and they know the procedures, and it's not like it was in the early days. And that's going to, our big concentration, of course, is Raymond Beach and Crescent Lake, and then lesser at Panther Pond and Thomas Pond. We'll start Friday around noontime at Raymond Beach and Crescent. And then Saturday and Sunday, we will then be full-blown with all 4 of them. What has happened in the past is that Panther Pond and Crescent Lake have added to the funds that we get from the state to lengthen the amount of time that we actually have CBIers on site. And that we anticipate will happen this year as well, and we will modify as we go exactly the hours, depending once we begin to get a feel for how often people are actually coming down. But normally you're going to see at Panther and Panther Pond, and you may even see me at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have been filling in on occasion. And most of the time it'll be on the weekends for sure, at Raymond and Panther and Crescent starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it'll run at Crescent and Raymond all the way until about 7 o'clock at night.
Wow.
On the weekend, about 13 hours.
13 hours on a weekend day.
For Raymond
Wow.
and Crescent. Panther, we usually run just to 1 o'clock.
Yep.
And Thomas, just 5 hours.
Yeah.
There's not too much use at Thomas. But for Panther, Crescent, and Raymond, that's where we have most of the need. And if I am the type that if you see me standing out there waving, and if I wave more than once, well, you'll have to deal with it, because the big thing that the emphasis that we're trying to make is that we want the CBIers to be present and there, so you see them and you know what they're doing. And we all have these shirts that we wear. We now have signs. Last year was the first year, I think, that we went to signs at all of the sites, so that's been a big plus.
How many, Ben, have been able to tap into college kids?
We mostly have college kids.
Yep.
And what's nice is that we have, I'm guessing that out of the 5 or 6 that we're going to have, that 4 or so of them are going to be veterans.
Wow.
And so that's very good.
Returning inspectors?
Yes. And they also, a number of them will be doing is that they will double and on the side of the invasive plants and all. That part of it is undergoing some changes this year, as Sebago Lake, or LEA, has found that it has less to be doing up in their end of the lake, and so there is now, I haven't been involved in that part of the details, but it's clear that there's going to be some increased work toward our end here, outside of Raymond itself, but we're really beginning to get hold of the problem.
Excellent.
With the invasives, with the milfoil in particular.
So we're still running one boat, two, how many boats?
We have
One boat,
two
any of those
boats.
2 boats?
We have 2 boats. We've had some problems. So on occasion, we've always had one boat.
One boat's running
At least going.
Yeah, that's good.
And they, one of them uses the type of, where you have baskets actually on the pontoon boat, whereas the other one, we dump it into bags. And so it gives us some flexibility, because there's certain places where you really can't have a lot of weight
Yeah.
as you go up into
In the
narrows.
shallow areas, yeah.
But it's, it's been a long, I think we've been involved in this since I think about
2002,
about
2003.
when we first started diving at, what's the marina right here? They changed
Jordan
their
Bay.
name.
Jordan Bay.
Used to be Jordan.
Jordan Bay, right. I can remember someone coming along with bags, a diver coming up, and we then had to take the bag and dump it into the
We've come a
truck.
long way.
And now
From
what
that.
happens is that you have the boat comes into the dock at Jordan Bay, and they have a lift, and they lift the bags out, dump it into the trucks, and then eventually it gets trucked away. We still have a lot. We've been very successful in many areas. We have a few that, right in the Raymond area of Sebago Lake, where we've got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
And you're going to see people, and we're in the process of sorting out who's going to be doing what in terms of the organizations and all.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, it sounds like things are happening.
yes, they are.
Things are happening. Excellent. Well, that is about it. Does anyone else have anything to add on the conservation front? We will not have, what are you thinking, Russ? I see
I was
you-
just going to say the 319 grant.
319 grants.
The 319 grant for Crescent Lake is, there's still a little bit of funding left on the residential side. And if people are interested, they have until next Tuesday to go on the Crescent Lake link off of the town website to get their name in there before Tuesday. So that would be for some remediation on the lakeside if they're Crescent Lake landowners.
And for folks new to it, it's essentially a cost share program to
Right.
help with eroding driveways or
Driveways or
lawn areas
plantings
that are
along their waterfront.
waterfront
Yeah.
plantings to
Right.
stabilize.
So there's some matching funds up toward, I think, about $300 that I think the match is allowed.
Is there still labor to help with that? or
Well, that
is-
has to be recruited once
Once you
somebody
select
gets their
the,
name and once the projects are selected and
good,
that's part of the match.
good,
I do
very
have
good.
Go ahead.
I do have one thing. I haven't been that involved with the Panther Pond Association this past year, but if Peggy Jensen were here, the president of PPA, she would tell you that if you're in Panther Pond, somewhere, I don't know exactly where, but there's going to be some kind of a buoy, or there is, and it's one of these things that's measuring various things, I guess, phosphorus.
Water quality parameters.
Water, yeah, exactly. And it's being uploaded.
Telemetry.
And one of the universities, I can't remember which, is involved. So it really is moving forward. We're trying to see what we can learn.
Wow.
So if you see this strange thing, admire it, but leave it alone. Okay.
Good to get that notice out there, Ben. Yep. Well, technology is moving us forward on a number of fronts. And what we were talking about at the end of the forest meeting was the ability to scan with your phone a map at the kiosk and have then the map load into your phone, the trail map. And Loon Echo apparently has this at some of their other preserves and would probably do this at the Raymond Community Forest. So just another example of how you can't get away from it. But all for hopefully better information results in better use of the resource is the hope. Well, that's it. We'll see everybody in September, the last Tuesday of September. We'll have our next Raymond Conservation Commission meeting, and we welcome any and all members or interested folks to come out and join us. That's it.
Great. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye, aye. Thank you.